The surprise was that a famous runner was coming to speak to the class, not just any runner, an Olympian. After Sister made the announcement, Jean Patrick could not keep his mind on the path of his studies. For the past few weeks, he hadn't thought anything could lift up his spirits. Not Papa's books, not the isafuria and fried potatoes with milk that Mama had cooked for him, not the song Jacqueline played full force on the radio. But Sister had managed to succeed where all else had failed. All morning long, his mind traveled back to the runner. His eyes wore out a spot on the window where he searched for the speck that would turn into the runner's fancy auto. The first part was when I saw a swimmer from Equatorial Guinea in the 2000 Olympics in Sydney, and I was so impressed by his heart that I kept the story in my heart. The second part, because of that, I decided to work with African refugees in Tucson, and I worked with one particular family who became like family to me, and the story they told me of their escape from Somalia stayed with my heart, and I knew that I would write something to do with their story. They're based on kind of a conglomeration of people. I'm a massage therapist also, and one of my massage patients, Patrick Nkuba, is an 800-meter runner. And he ran for Burundi, he's from Burundi, and he ran on the team in 2000 and either, I think it was 96 and 2000, or 2000 and 2004, he ran for Burundi on the Olympics. So much of what I know about running the 800 comes from him. I researched the novel. I went to Rwanda 4 times. I interviewed a lot of survivors. Many of those survivors became my friends. I stood in many of the sites where genocide occurred. I went to the commemoration of the genocide. Every year they have they mark the anniversary of the genocide. So I went to the services for the victims, and I also read everything I could get my hands on about the genocide. Yes, I absolutely did. That was from the beginning one of the main reasons that I wrote the book. I felt, number one, that people in the West did not understand the genocide at all. That the misconception is that there was 2 tribes that rose up and started killing each other, when actually the genocide was very meticulously planned over years. I wanted people to understand that, and I also wanted people to understand that this happened to real people. It was a real event, and that it could happen anywhere in the world. It was extremely difficult. I kept thinking, do I have the right to tell this story? But in the end, and I asked my Rwandan friends, I decided not only did I have the right, but I had the obligation. Yes, absolutely. I'm a marathon runner and a triathlete, an Ironman triathlete, and it was a given that running would be a big part of the novel because it infuses everything that I do. What I've most enjoyed is when people from Rwanda or people who have been to Rwanda have come up to me at the end of my events and said, "Thank you for writing this." I do. I've kind of gone back to my own roots, which is the Holocaust. A lot of my mother's family died in the Holocaust, so I'm writing a book about 3 generations of survivors, a grandmother who was a direct survivor, and then her daughter and granddaughter. The advice that I would give to other writers is the same advice that I think my book, one of the main messages of my book is to never give up, never lose your spirit, and just no matter what happens, to keep going, keep trying.